Hello everyone, and thanks for tuning in. And yes, we're back again with my little sister Latoya, and what we're doing again, Motivational Mondays. So I'm going to let her go ahead and get started. One thing I want to say, thank you for all my new subscribers for subscribing to the channel. I appreciate you all, and thanks so much. I really appreciate you guys. Okay, sis, take it away.
All right, so I'm back again. With Mental Health Monday. Hope you guys enjoyed the last Mental Health Monday. But we touched on something last week with relationships,
right,
and what you don't have to take. So we're going to call this Mental Health Monday. You know you don't have to take that, right? Okay, so here we go. Disclaimer. I'm not just going to talk about intimate relationships like, you're dating your spouse. I want to talk about your intimate relationships, your work relationships, family relationships, and your situationships. So if all of this stuff is causing you to lose your peace, it's time for you to reevaluate what you're doing. It's time for you to reevaluate where you are. So the first point, because I'm hoping that Big Sis will ask me some questions and stuff like that, but I really want to get it out because it's so important to understand that a lot of the times we are in situations that may look great on paper, but behind closed doors,
Totally different.
behind closed doors, people dealing with the Hulk.
Yes.
So this is some important information that I have found. So again, if it is still in your piece, it's time for you to reevaluate things. I'm looking down because I got my notes, I got my thoughts together, okay?
Right.
So,
We appreciate it.
Number 1, I may not be invited back, and you may turn off after this. But the first thing I want you to do is to own it. Own the part that you play in the decisions that you make in your life.
True.
People can only do to you what you
Allow them to do.
So if you are in a situation, a relationship, situationship where somebody is lowering your value, you need to own the part that you play in it. Many people would rather place blame on a person, a place, or a thing rather than to own up to the part that they play in it, okay? So own your stuff first.
Right.
Okay? I can only allow people to treat me a certain way. So if a person hits you the first time, guess what? If you allow it,
He's going to hit you a second time.
if you let somebody call you out your name the first time,
He's going to call you out your name the second time.
okay. So instead of allowing that to be your regular, boop, boop, stop right now. Reevaluate what you're looking at. Is it worth it? And if it's not, then you need to figure it out and you need to own that.
That's right.
Okay? We have got to set boundaries with people. You've got to set boundaries. And I'm not just talking about dating. I'm talking about even within families, even within your work, and all of those types of environment. People need boundaries. They need to know what you will and won't take from the start.
Right.
Otherwise, you can't get mad when people do you any kind of way. Own your stuff. Number 2, believe it. Believe the narrative. When someone shows you who they are, believe it.
They are. That's just who they are.
That's just who they are. Can a turtle change into a snake?
No.
A turtle is what it is. It's a turtle. So if that is a toxic person, if they are in a toxic situation, that's just what they are.
That's right.
That's what they're accustomed to. You don't have to be accustomed to that. You don't have to accept that.
True.
Believe the narrative, okay?
Right.
I'm going to go on to number 3 because I don't want to be here all day. I want to get it out and I want y'all to get it and let it marinate. Okay? Change you. 3. Change you. You can't change anyone else.
That's right.
There is a stigma within our culture that I feel that little girls are taught from the beginning. They bring us these Disney characters and they show us how, the prince is saving, the princess and all of this kind of stuff. And it's like, oh my gosh, that's not the way that life is.
True.
It's not that way.
No way.
You say that with much passion.
No way.
It's not that way. We don't have the ability to change people. We can only change ourselves and we can only change our own personal situations.
Right.
So you have to look at that. You have to believe that you can't change anyone else. And when you believe that you can, you're only hurting yourself. You're only impacting yourself and causing yourself grief that you don't even have to take on.
That's right.
So just change you.
That's right.
Work on you.
Work on
fix you.
Mm-hmm.
This is important, and I definitely want you to expound on the fact that if this is what you're dealing with, get out.
True, get out, because nothing for me and the relationships I was in, because I've told you guys in the past, I can't change or make a person do what I would like for them to do. So in the marriages that I was in, I couldn't stop my first husband from abusing me. So, and I couldn't change him and make him into the person I would love for him to be.
Exactly.
That wasn't going to happen. So I had to make plans to leave because he wasn't changing. Although he beat me, bring me flowers, beat me, bring me candy, beat me, bring me flowers, that didn't change the fact that he was still one thing, beating me and abusing me in more than one way. And then my second marriage, the same thing. I saw thing for a thing. I tell people that when you see a thing for a thing, you know and you recognize it, especially when you've already been through it, you can see it more clearly. And you're like, you know what? It's not working. And after you have even explained to a person that you have been abused, and they turn around and abuse you, that's even another thing that we didn't even talk about today. But
I do touch on it.
I'm saying because to me, I think people just think they can just, treat you any kind of way. And it's okay.
And that goes back to setting boundaries. I'll elaborate on that and say that women do something that men don't do. When we go out on a date with a man, we sit down at the table with them and we start to talk and talk and talk and talk and talk. And you know what they do? They listen. They listen to everything that you tell them, whether you realize it or not. And they process it so that they know how to treat you at least for the time.
Right.
So that's a whole nother situation. Situation that I'll talk about maybe one day is when you get into these relationships with people, you go on these dates before the relationship starts, don't talk so much.
Yeah.
Pull your hair back and listen. Listen. Because people really will, if you listen long enough, tell you who they are. But you have to not be so struck that you miss out on it.
Right.
But once again, that's a whole different situation. Okay?
That's right.
All right. So going back to getting out, get out. This is gonna look different for different people. If, like she said, if you're in an abusive relationship, you may not have the opportunity to just pull yourself out of it.
Which was my situation. I was not able to pull out because one thing about it, you're like groomed when you get with this person and they treat you a certain way in the beginning to let everybody think, oh, it's all hunky-dory. But in the end part, a lot of women don't have the finances to leave.
That's it.
And that's what happened to me. I didn't have the finances, but I had the know-how one day to make a call. And my other sister was the one who called me. No, I called her that day and she was like, what's going on? And I was able to get out of it like that. My mom came and got me. So that's the thing we all have to remember. It's hard to just leave because a lot of women, people like, why do you stay in abuse? A lot of women stay in abuse because of the simple fact that they have no leeway, they have no way to get out, they have no way, they don't have the finances, they don't have the money. They don't have,
is the provider.
He's the provider and he knows that. Okay,
and so I say that's when you start to be mindful and conscious about preparing your plan.
Right.
This may not be you writing your plan down, but you keep it in here because if you're being abused and the person thinks that you're going to leave, then they can have an issue and that could cause your life. Right. So if you're in a situation where you're being physically abused in that way, you have to be mindful and conscious of how you're going to get out of the situation.
That's right.
Now, I'm going to lean in. If you are dealing with a narcissist, that's a whole different story. If you are dealing with somebody who is mentally manipulative, you have to start being mentally manipulative enough to know that I've got to get out of this.
Right.
Anything that lowers your value, anyone that's telling you something, I don't care if it's the dude, I don't care if it's the chick, I don't care if it's a family member, I don't care if it's your boss. Anyone who is telling you things that demean you and will cause you to feel like your value is low, you need to be making plans to leave that alone.
Right.
You need to know who you are. You need to find out who you are.
That's most important.
That's the first step.
You gotta know who you are.
Gotta know
and
your
you gotta
value.
remember your worth and know that you are worth more than what they see you as.
Definitely.
And you gotta keep it in your mind. I know who I am. I know my worth. I know what I'm about.
It's very important. So here's a tip. Like I said, if you're dealing with somebody who is a narcissist, who does not listen. You know, remember I told you when you're sitting at dinner on that first, date situation, when they get to the point where they do not listen, you can't change that. So rather than spend your time trying to talk to a person who your feelings are obviously not important to, shut it down. I'm not gonna keep talking to you and arguing with you and telling you how I feel about myself and our situation.
Right.
I'm gonna let it go. Boop, boop, done. Leave it alone. So that's how you get out. Okay? So you're out of the situation. We've moved forward. We've gotten out. We've dealt with that. You're out of the situation. You ended your relationship, marriage, situationship, whatever. Now what? Work on you.
Learn to love yourself. Learn to have that self-love and know your worth. That's most important. A lot of women don't know their worth. You don't know your worth, then people can do anything they want to. But me as a woman, I know my worth. I know what I'm about. I know, I just know who I am. And I know I'm worth something and I'm important.
Sure.
Right.
So if you're watching and you don't know your worth, just know, we know that you're important.
You're very important.
But you got to
You're
catch up
beautiful.
with what everybody else knows.
Right.
Doing the work also includes, one of the most important aspects is fixing those things that are in you, because we are what we attract.
Right.
So if you are broken,
You're gonna attract broken.
you're gonna attract broken people. If I'm at a place where I get an understanding where a lot of people relationship hop.
Right.
So you get out of a relationship, and as soon as you get out, you got to find somebody else. There's nothing wrong with being alone. In your alone time, you find out who you are.
True.
I mean, it's working on yourself. It's sitting down, whether that be sitting down and writing a list of things and attributes about yourself that you notice. Okay, when I was in this situation, I diminished myself. What do I need to do to build my confidence?
And that's also most important, because I noticed when I was in the relationships I was in, I was going down, down, down. And it was like, I was diminishing me and bringing up the other person. And I think we all do that in relationships. We go a little lower, for your spouse or whatever. You're double down, but you can't double down. You got to stand tall regardless of the situation. It's hard. It's not easy, but you got to do the work.
So I figured, because we're trying to keep it so that y'all will watch it, stay engaged, that I would tell my own testimony.
Okay.
Now, I come from the church, so it's a testimony. So I spent so many years of my life being an unpaid psychologist for people. And in that, you listen to people, but you never have anybody pour anything into you. So you're always giving. And you can't drink out of a cup that's empty, right? True. If it's empty, you don't get anything.
You can't get nothing.
So I'm in a season where I figured it out. I figured out who I was, my value, my worth.
That's right.
Except the season of loneliness. There's nothing wrong with being lonely. I'm learning a lot about myself.
Right.
But and I do have people who are asked, okay, well, you've got a degree in this and that. Why don't you work in that field? Because I realized all of these things. I realized that people don't like to take responsibility for the part that they play in their own life.
Right.
I don't want to hear that all day. I don't care how much you pay me. I don't want to hear you complain about what this, that. It's a lot of people who've been through trauma, life situations, and they come out on the other side.
That's right.
So
and that's what we have to remember, to come out
on
the other side with everything that has happened to me. Because, like I tell you, I was put in so many different situations when I was with my first husband. I was put out the road in snow with the little baby, pushed out, and so much is. And I know God had a purpose for my life, because I'm still here. Because there was so many times I shouldn't be here, but I am here. I try to tell people I look nothing like what I've been through.
That's that call for a purpose.
That's why I know that I'm here to do this, to tell people about you can do better, you can be better, because that's what God laid on my heart. Because He took me out, and He didn't take me out for just to take me out, just to sit back and don't do anything. And that's why I love YouTube, because I can come and say how I feel about things, and no one is getting upset. No one is, you're freaking out or nothing like that. It's just they know that I've been through something, and I'm trying to encourage people to know that you don't have to lie down. You don't have to hurt yourself. You don't have to do none of that. You know what I mean? Go ahead.
If it disturbs your peace, baby, it ain't worth it. It ain't worth it.
It's not worth
I love what you said, that I don't look like what I've been through. And that's not just genetics. That's a mindset.
It's a mindset.
You don't have to be a victim.
Right.
It's easy to be a victim.
That's right.
It is harder to be a victor,
That's right.
because a victor comes out on the other side. So rather than say, I've been through so much that I'm just gonna lay down and just let life take me,
Right.
shake the victim suit off. Do your work. Figure out what you need to do to get to the other side.
That's right.
And be a victor.
That's right.
So I'm good. Where we at though?
So okay, we're gonna end it in a little, but I just wanted to come on, and it's Mental Health Mondays, and we'll be back on next Monday to have this discussion again. And I want to say a few things to everybody. We love you. We love you. And I want to say, don't forget to like, comment, share, and don't forget to hit the notification bell, so each time I upload a video, you will get it. But guys, I just want to say thank you for coming in, and thank you for all my subscribers. You guys have a blessed day. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.